Let's get into it, guys. Happy Friday Frolic Funday. So these are obviously so super simple, guys. Just doing some simple earrings, but yet they're pretty, I think, nonetheless. Something kind of dramatic. I don't have anything like this. The teal with this orange, I think it's just so different. Just a very interesting, different type of a color palette. So what I'm doing, guys, on the bottom, is I'm feeding on one of my HUD pens, one of the maple leaf beads here, and of course my 4mm glass oval. And then I'm just going to trim it down a little bit, kind of eyeball it, and we'll just do a simple loop. And I guess some pliers would help. And so I'll just roll that in. Just going to do a simple loop here on the earrings, because these HUD pens are so sturdy. They're like 20 or 21 gauge, something like that. They're really, really sturdy. So don't need to wire wrap. And so that's what I've got there. And then I'll just pop my loop open. And then I'm going to add that to my connector. Now, these do have an obvious, that's the back and the front. They do have an obvious front and an obvious back. And you can use either side, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my opening of my hole to go to the back of my component here, my connector. So I'll feed it on this way. So the loop winds up behind in the back. Close that up. It's just a simple loop there. And then for the ocean saddle bead, I just, they're all so different. I just kind of picked out two that had both some orange and some blue in them. They're all so pretty and different. And this one, same thing, just going to do a simple loop. And so we'll just trim a little bit of that off and just roll forward a loop. And I'm going to make this nice and tight. I don't need to open this loop again. So I'm going to make sure that's good and closed, but also these are nice and thick HUD pens. So long as you're touching right there, you're good to go. And now, guys, I'm going to open up my ear wire. Super, super easy, but they turn out really pretty. I just like I think they're a little bit, they have a little drama. They're a little dramatic. So I'm just going to pop open my ear wire, and then I'm going to feed on my ocean saddle bead first. And then I'm going to feed on my connector. And again, I'm feeding the front on, making sure it's facing this way, where the opening of my ear wire is to the back. So this could be the front of my earring. And then just let me close that up. And that is what we have. Really super, super pretty, super easy. Obviously, when you're wearing them, that cool little ocean saddle bead just lays right in front there, and it just shows that pop of color with that gold. I think they're super cute. And so that is what we have with those guys. Let me pop it onto the mat and show you here what we've got. That's what we've got. Super pretty. I think they look so cute. So many different things you can do with these connectors. I thought I'd make a fun pair of earrings. So I want to do a coordinating bracelet. And I just was thinking about, I wanted to do like a cool mix of these beautiful colors. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm cutting over here a piece of 0.38mm wire, beading wire in gold. And I basically fold it in half, guys, and then I put it up to my ruler, and then I give myself 3 extra inches for good measure. So you want to give yourself a good amount of wire. I always go about 15 inches folded in half when I am doing a ladder. And so the first thing we do, guys, is lots of ways we can do this. today, I think what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and feed on the flower portion of our toggle first. And then we'll find the center. So let's marry up our ends here and make sure that that is down there on the center. Now what I'm going to do is on each strand, I'm going to feed on a couple of these 11 O's. I think I'm going to do 2 on each side. And let those drop down. And that seems good. All I'm trying to do is just kind of get those kind of stable right next to my clasp there. Okay. Now, what we can do is put our wires together and we can absolutely crimp it right here. Okay, we can crimp it here if we feel like we need to. But I am going to not crimp until we get to the other side. I'm going to do something a little bit different on this particular one. And so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I've got both my wires. If you're not familiar, I'll walk you through what I'm doing. What I'm doing, guys, is I'm going to be picking up an orange bicone, a teal bicone, and an orange bicone on one strand. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other strand. So an orange, a teal, and an orange. And then on each strand, I am going to put an 11-0. And we'll let all that go to the bottom. I am going to try to keep myself centered as best as I can until I can establish my pattern here. Let all that go down to the bottom. And that's what I have. Pull you way down to the mat so you can see that. So we fed our clasp on, found the center of our wire, then we put on 2 11-0s, and then a orange 4mm bicone, 4mm teal, 4mm orange, and then an 11-0 on each side of our wires. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I am going to grab one of my ocean saddle beads, and I'm going to put my bead through my wire, one wire. I'm going to grab the other wire, and I'm going to push it through the bead the opposite way, going left to right now. And so now this is what we have. So I have my bead right here, and I have my tails going opposite direction. And now what I'll do is I would go ahead and I'm going to pull my tails. Just like that. And that's what we have. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and do it again. So my pattern is an 11-0, and I'll pull you down to the mat for this run so you can really see what I'm doing. So I have an 11-0, and then we have a 4mm bicone in orange, and then the teal, and then the orange again, and then an 11-0. And let that go ahead and drop down my wire. And then I'll grab the other side and do the same thing. So we have an 11-0, the orange bicones, the teal, I can pick it up, the orange again, and then an 11-0. So we have done the same thing and fed that down both wires and let them drop down, and that is what we have. Okay, so we've got our 11-0, 11-0, our 3 4mm, and an 11-0 on both strands. Okay, now we are going to grab another ocean saddle bead, and so I'm going to take one of my wires, I'm going to put it through my bead, going from right to left, right through. Then I'm going to grab my other wire. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go from left to right through the whole of my bead. And this is how you do a ladder. And now I have both of my tails right here. And then I'm just going to pull my tails. I'm going to keep pulling them until that goes all the way down. Just like that. And that's what you have. That's the back, obviously. This is the front. And we'll tighten it up as we go. Okay, and so that really pretty much begins your ladder. Hopefully this inspires you. I think that that teal and that orange look so pretty together. I love it. So with our length, maybe one more run. So it's got a little bit, it's kind of how it looks. And then, you know, kind of has a spring effect on it. I love, my God, I love this, you guys. You know what? That's it. Okay, fantastico. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we are going to, first of all, let me grab a crimp. That might be nice. I'll put the crimp down both wires. Okay, first. And so I'm going to feed that jump ring down both my wires, friends. And now that it's down, both my wires are down that last bead, the crimp, both wires, and now the jump ring. I just need to take one of my wires and pull it back through. I don't need to pull them both back. So one can hang out, it doesn't matter which one, because they're both gonna end up being crimped, okay? But this is where it's a little tricky because you're only pulling one wire back through your crimp. And that first bead. This is where it gets a little tedious for a second to tighten it up, but we can do it. So what I'm doing, guys, is first we check our bracelet. Let's make sure we're intact. There's no gaps, and there are not, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this tail, right? See what's happening? And I'm holding this other tail over here. I'll pull you down to the mat so you can really see. Okay, and so I'm pulling this together. But I need this bead to be on the top, right? So he needs to be on the top. So I have to kind of be very mindful of where he's wanting to go. I'm just going round and round. Okay, and now I'll flush cut my wires. And this one, see how it kind of went through the jump ring the other way, because that's how we fed it through. Oh, I didn't finish crimping you right. You want to move on me. Okay. Well, then let me finish. Okay. What we can do, guys, is just grab your chain nose and pull that wire through. So that's just so you can get a nice flush cut. On that wire. because we didn't need to pull him through, but we did crimp him off, right? Okay, very good. I'll pull you up, and that's what we have. And I hope you guys enjoyed Friday Frolic Funday, and I hope you guys were inspired more than anything. I will link the bags in the box for you guys if you're interested. That's what we have. That's how that turned out. So pretty. I love it. I think this is so fun for October. I really love this for the fall. I think these are so, so pretty. And we'll do the try-on. Let me put the toggle on the right way. And let me go ahead and put my toggle through here, which is why I ended with that bicone right there, by the way. So we have plenty of room. Nothing is interrupting that toggle. You could use the other toggle that was in the box, or any toggle for that fact, really. You can use a lobster, but that's how that looks, guys. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that color palette awesome? I cannot. I just love it. It's so, so different. So different. I'm loving that. Okay, friends. I hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your Friday. And we will see you back on the mat tomorrow. Until then, friends, be blessed.